There are two really big stories to report on in the media world today. So apparently, Greta Van Susteren is going to MSNBC. I think Mediaite were the first to report this. Now, there's been some speed bumps in the story, which is why I haven't covered it until today, because they announced this, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days ago, but there was still like a question mark. Is she going to do it? Is she not going to do it? She was going on Facebook and trying to battle back against her Fox News fans who were like, you're going to go to MSNBC, fucking sellout, bitch. And she's like, whoa, just because I'm going there doesn't mean I agree with everybody there, and yada, yada. So, but the reports are still out there that they made her an offer she can't refuse. In fact, she said something along those lines. They made me an offer I can't refuse. What am I going to do? So now MSNBC, the network of alleged liberal lions, is going to get Greta Van Susteren. Greta Van Susteren. If you don't know who she is, that's correct. You shouldn't know who she is, because she's an irrelevant Fox News host. You know, she's super boring. She has very banal, kind of down-the-line right-wing opinions. She's not as crazy as Hannity, obviously. No, very few people are. Obviously, maybe Limbaugh is. I would argue even O'Reilly is more reasonable than Hannity, but she's no O'Reilly, she's no Hannity, but she's a fairly consistent, down-the-line, standard, banal, right-wing talking point kind of character. And now she's going to MSNBC. Then we have an even bigger story. It's not just Greta Van Susteren. Megyn Kelly is going to NBC. She was making $15 million for this final year of her Fox News contract. $15 million. Hey, by the way, you think these hosts are a little overpaid and they're pampered little pricks? The answer is yes. I'm in the media business. I know it's YouTube, it's different, clearly. But there's no way they're worth that amount of money. The amount of money that they bring in ad revenue is nowhere near, really, $15 million? $15 million a year for her. And Fox News said, okay, no, we need to offer her at least $20 million. I think they offered her between $20 million and $25 million, and she was demanding, I think, over $25 million, or $25 million or more. And I guess the negotiations fell apart with Fox News and NBC. We don't have the details of her contract yet with NBC, but apparently they made her a better offer, and now she's heading over there. Her as well. Apparently her Facebook page is just like, filled with Fox News butt buddies. Butt buddies? That's not the right term to use there. Fox News ass lickers. That makes more sense. Who are like, oh, you're betraying Fox, or are you going to betray Fox? It's not like the CEO there tried to sexually harass you or molest you or anything. Oh, wait, he did? What? It's Roger Ailes. Another story for another day. But they're all pissed at her. They're all like, oh, how dare you go to NBC? So I need you to stop and think about what's happening in media in this country right now. We have a Republican president. We have, obviously, coming Republican president. He's still technically the president-elect, but he's going to be the president. We have the Republicans controlling the Senate, the Republicans controlling the House of Representatives. We have the Republicans controlling a majority of governorships. We have the Republicans with a majority of state legislatures. Republicans control everything. I would be surprised if we looked at the dog catcher numbers if there were more Democrats. I'm convinced there's more Republicans at the dog catcher level also. So they control everything. Now, at a time when that's the case, you need an adversarial media more than ever to hold them accountable. Because you and I both know, despite campaign rhetoric and all that garbage, this country's going to take a hard turn to the right policy-wise. I mean, there's already the signs of it there, and they're already promising to do that. Handcuffing the FDA and the EPA, and they briefly tried to get rid of the Independent Office of Congressional Ethics, and they're going to run wild and try to, privatize or cut Medicare and Social Security and all these things. We know it's coming. We know it's fucking coming. So when the country takes a turn to the right, what is your brilliant mainstream media doing? And specifically, the supposed liberals On MSNBC and NBC, what are they doing? They're taking a turn to the right also. They're going with Megyn Kelly and Greta Van Susteren. Guys, all the praise Megyn Kelly gets, and by the way, she gets bipartisan praise, which drives me crazy. It is such a low bar. Because what is the praise? Oh, she's a right-winger, but she's not as crazy as Hannity or O'Reilly. I'm supposed to give credit for that? As the country's marching right off a cliff and going more in the direction of endless war and corporatism, I'm supposed to say, oh, we have Megyn Kelly there, so everything is going to be okay. She's really going to hold people accountable. No, she's going to do, most of the time, she'll do standard right-wing talking points, and every now and then, she, like Chris Wallace, every now and then, oh, you do one adversarial interview, you do 10% good within an ocean of 90% bad, and the media goes, oh my God, oh, there's such a great journalist, right? Centrist. I mean, Hillary Clinton praised her. Hillary fucking Clinton was like, oh yeah, no, she's a great journalist. This is the person who would, tell us Santa Claus is white, kids. He just is. And that's just a minor example. I mean, there are way worse egregious examples. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was her show that Dinesh D'Souza came on and denied there was a Native American genocide, and she just let it slide. Like, this is the fringe taking over the country, guys. The media is shifting right as the country has shifted right off a fucking cliff. This spells disaster, because we've seen similar situations to this. Remember what happened in the march up to the Iraq War? Phil Donahue got fired because Phil Donahue questioned the Iraq War. Well, at the time, they thought that's bad for ratings. If you come across as unpatriotic, we can't have you questioning it. So there was nothing but voices who were either silent on the issue or flat out in favor of the war in the media. At a time when we needed the government narrative to be questioned the most and the establishment narrative to be questioned the most, nobody was there to question it. Because the establishment media made a decision, hey, it's better for profit, it's better for me when I'm at my fucking cocktail parties with these other politicians to not rock the boat. So let's do these Washington talking points and put in people who won't question that line. And now the same fucking thing is happening. MSNBC bragged recently. Or was it CNN? It was one of the two. They bragged, oh, now people might start accusing us of having a conservative bias because they decided to hire more conservative commentators. So in other words, they got so scared about people screaming that they had a liberal bias. They're like, okay, now we're going to have a conservative bias. You guys happy now? You idiots, that's a trick. They scream liberal bias, liberal bias, liberal bias to get you to go softer on the conservatives. So then, effectively, you actually have a conservative bias because you don't call out the bullshit from the conservatives. Now, when people accuse Fox of having a conservative bias, they go, fuck off, fair and balanced, and they keep doing their right-wing bullshit. The liberals never respond like that. So guess what? MSNBC, NBC, CNN, the rest of them, wait until you see how decimated they become. Because they're riding high right now. Every time there's an election, their numbers go up, and they act like it's this revolutionary thing, and they have a great formula. We spoke about this recently. What's his name? Jeff Zucker from CNN and Phil Griffin from MSNBC. All the geniuses who have revived their networks. Revived their networks? They're still behind Fox News. Fox News is number one in cable news. How are you bragging when you're behind Fox fucking News? Don't come talk to me until you're number one by a mile. But no, they brag about being number two and number three because, we went up in the ratings. Everybody went up in the ratings. There was a fucking election going on, you epic morons. The test is what's going to happen in the off years. And in the off years, hear me now, quote me later, they're either going to go down to what they were before or they'll go lower. They'll either go down to the numbers they were at before or they'll go lower. Because in an off season, what the fuck do they have to fall back on? Nothing. They have fake neutrality and establishment talking points. That's all they fucking have. And now NBC and MSNBC, the network where liberals are supposed to want to watch it, they're asking you to watch Greta Van Susteren and Megyn Kelly. You couldn't come up with a worse strategy. And they're overpaying them too, obviously. You couldn't come up with a worse strategy. This is the network that fired Phil Donahue for questioning the Iraq War. This is the network that fired Ed Schultz for questioning the TPP. And now they want young lefties to watch Greta Van Susteren and Megyn Kelly. What a fucking joke. But you know what? I should be thanking them. Because why do you think we're doing well? As their numbers go down, ours go up. Why? Because there's no calculation going on here. I see the stories, I give you the facts on the stories, and I tell you what I think about them. And it just so happens that my political beliefs happen to coincide with many in the millennial generation. And not just that, many in the country, period. When you look at the poll numbers, people tend to agree with Bernie Sanders' philosophy. So do I. So, and what are they doing? They're running the opposite direction. Go more establishment, go more corporatist, go further right wing. And they think with all their fucking $1 billion, oh, look at these graphics that we have. You know, I'm a CNN guy and I have 33 fucking screens I can move shit around on. But you still got Wolf Blitzer moving the shit on the screen and talking. Nobody wants to hear that guy talk. Nobody wants to watch CNN and hear Wolf Blitzer. Nobody wants to, watch Greta Van Susteren on MSNBC. Morning Joe has always gotten bad ratings. The only reason they're on the air is because people in Washington fucking love him. And he's buddy-buddy with management because he's an ass kisser, to nobody's surprise. So keep marching off a cliff. Look, I want them to correct course because I care about the country. And if their voice is a strong adversarial voice to the government, great, I'd be happy about that. But for selfish reasons, I look at this and I go, oh, even though it sucks for the country, obviously it's good for me because people are going to watch me. They're going to turn more and more to new media. But again, look, it's not really about that. I want the country to go in a better direction. It'd be better if they corrected course. So I'm here, even though I'm ripping them, I'm also giving them an out. And my out is to tell them, do your fucking job. Do your job. Be adversarial media. Question the people in power. Question the people in government. Call out corporatism. Call it out when politicians don't do what the American people want them to do. Discuss the facts. Be interesting in the process. But they won't do it. They're going to hire fucking Greta Van Susteren with her -8 fans. And they're going to hire Megyn Kelly, the most overrated so-called journalist reporter that there is. Does standard right-wing talking points, but gets this incredible praise like, oh my God, but she's also smart and doing stupid talking points. And she's also not as crazy as Hannity. Oh, it's so great. And they accuse us of being liberal. So, now we hire her. They can't accuse that anymore. Oh, it's so great. Give her $80 trillion. Go ahead. Keep marching off that cliff.